And there it is, he's laughing. Hello and welcome to the Smackdown Live Tag Team Championship match from the Royal Rumble. Well, it's not the real one, obviously. Clickbait. It's a WWE 2K18 match simulation. I am joined by my colour commentator that I'm going to stop calling special guest, Emir from the RWT podcast.
What is going on, party people?
We're having a day one party here with the floating Smackdown titles to match the floating Raw titles from that video. Yeah, the Usos versus Gable and Benjamin in a 2 out of 3 falls match. This could be a show stealer. This could be a real show stealer. I feel like all of the matches outside of the Rumbles could be really good matches though. Like, I feel like we've got, in different ways, like, yeah, the Universal title match is going to be a Demolition Derby, and, you know, there's obviously going to be a bit more story required for the handicap match than necessarily great ring work. But at the end of the day, are those three combined capable of doing bad ring work? I'd say the same for these four. Are these capable of bad ring work? Like, you know, like, they're so good, all four of them.
Yeah, they are. And I like to watch all four of them, man. Honestly, the Usos are just fantastic workers. They're good on the mic. They're money.
Yep.
But I got a question for you, Abeza. If you had to, you got 4 guys: Chad Gable, Shelton Benjamin, Jimmy Uso, and Jay Uso. Of the 4 of them, which one competitor do you think has the best chance at being a WWE champion someday?
I would have to say by process of elimination, Chad Gable. But the reasoning is Shelton Benjamin's like 40 and a lifelong mid-carder, and you know he's good for the high spot. The way Shelton Benjamin could do it if they finally gave him a Money in the Bank win, you know, and gave him like a 1-2 month reign. He could do it, you know. But the Usos, I genuinely, sincerely hope they never get split up. Like, you know, I don't know how many times WWE have to split up great tag teams before they'll realise it's a mistake. The prime example that comes to mind is when they did the original brand split and they split up the Dudley Boys. And you got Bubba Ray and Spike being the Dudley Boys light. And you got Reverend Devon, which was atrocious. And, okay, that gave us Batista, who went on to become, you know, obviously what he became. But just because you got a lucky silver lining on a cloud doesn't mean it was a right decision, you know. And a team like the Dudley Boys should have been together forever, and ditto the Usos, in my opinion. Like, it works out sometimes. The Hardy Boys, it kind of worked out, but were the Hardy Boys as individuals in WWE? I know Jeff won the title and stuff, but were they ever, if you added up them two at the same time as a solo competitor, as good as the Hardy Boys were as a team? You know, like, yeah. I still struggle to believe that was a good decision. The one that worked out for me, at least for one of them, was Edge and Christian. But they still would have had great careers as perennial tag team guys. You know, they'd probably be guaranteed Hall of Famers as tag team guys as well. So, you know, it's hard to say that it was a bad decision with Edge because, you know, look at the career he had. But at the same time, I just feel like WWE like to break up teams now when, you know, you used to have like the Road Warriors or Legion of Doom, you had Demolition, you had, you know, the Rock and Roll Express. The Rockers were a bad example because they were just a team to get Shawn Michaels over, like, long term, weren't they? But like, you had all these teams that just started together, or at least came into WWF together. I know the Rock and Roll Express were a bad example because they were about 80 by the time they came in, but they came in together and they stayed together, and there was no need to split them up. Whereas they just got to the point where they thought, oh, well, we need a shock, let's split up a team. And it's like, no, let's not. So that's why I don't think the Usos are WWE title material, is because I want them to stay a tag team and become one of the greatest tag teams of all time. I don't think everyone needs to be a single star. So by process of elimination, it's Chad Gable, but that doesn't mean I ever see him winning the title.
What if Chad Gable cut his hair and stopped, and like he changed his outfit to like just, you know, trunks, knee pads, and boots, like, and got like a really different but better look to him?
I think he needs to start wearing lifts in his shoes as well, because he's like 5'9", isn't he, or something? Like, that's not to say no one small can win, but it reduces your chances of winning the WWE title. It does. It reduces your chances. Yeah, but it reduces your chances because it's just a fact of life in WWE. You know, it's smaller guys don't win as much as bigger guys.
How tall are you?
6'1", 6'2", roundabout.
You bastard.
But like, yeah, but it doesn't matter in day-to-day life. But in WWE, it's if you added up the number of days a man over 6'2", use my height as the ballpark figure, has held a WWE title, and then added up all the days a man under 6'2" has held a WWE title, I feel like the number would be double or triple in favour of the big guys.
Shawn Michaels, I think, is 5'11".
Yeah,
sometimes he tries to squeeze in at 6'1".
Oh yeah, there's exceptions. There's your Shawn Michaels, there's CM Punk who held the belt for a long time, and I think he's 6'1". He's around my height. You know, there's Daniel Bryan won the title like in spectacular fashion. It's not to say you can't. Kurt Angle is shorter than me, I believe. I think he's 6'1". But I mean, if you did the cut off at 6 foot, then the story changes a lot. You know, AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan, and then I'm already struggling. Yeah, like you say, Shawn Michaels might be a legit 5'11", like, build at 6'1". But, you know, it's a fact of life in WWE. The bigger guys win more titles. More world titles, you know.
Yeah, Vince McMahon...
Go on.
Huh?
Go on.
Yeah, Vince McMahon has a history of... he likes his guys tall and full of muscles, right?
Yeah, exactly, and he's not just going to magically change. Like, yeah, he'll give other guys a chance, but that doesn't mean Chad Gable would be twice as likely to win the WWE title if he was 3 or 4 inches taller. That's that's sad but true fact. You know, it's just how it is. But oh wow, well that was a fun discussion. Oh no, it's 2 out of 3 falls, isn't it? Oh. Goodness for that, I was like, oh, the match is over already. So yeah, but yeah, I think Chad's the least unlikely as opposed to the most likely. You know, like I think it's a case of all 4 are unlikely to ever win the WWE title. But one thing I was thinking when I looked at this match, I was thinking the tag division is the new Intercontinental title. Do you remember, like, late 80s, early 90s? The Intercontinental title was the workers' belt, wasn't it? It was all the good wrestlers had that title, while Hulk Hogan had the world title. You know, and that was how it was until they started putting the world title on good wrestlers like Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, and then it transitioned a bit. But it was the workers' title for so long, for more than a decade. That's kind of what it was known as. The tag titles are the workers' titles now. Look at all the talent, the individual talent and the talent as teams that's in the tag divisions on both shows. It's crazy good. You know, like... and what made me realise it was when I said this match could steal the show, and I thought, how many times have I said that over the last 6 months on either Raw Wrestling Talk, on the predictions, or on the simulation videos? How many times have I said this tag match might steal the show, might be the best match?
Yeah, you've said it plenty. Now here's the thing, you also mentioned that it went from being the workers' title and it transitioned when they started putting it on guys like Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels. When that IC belt started being put on guys like Bret and Shawn...
Oh no, I meant the world title went to Bret and Shawn, and then you had actual workers winning the world title, so then the IC title couldn't be known as that anymore, because, you know, workers were just doing well in general. But I mean, in the days when the world title was held by people who couldn't really wrestle a match at all, like your Ultimate Warriors, you know, like, the IC title was the match where you expected a good match.
But, so what was good about that is that the IC title was a stepping stone. The same way like Money in the Bank now is like somebody gets that and you're like, this guy's going to be champion. Back in the day, if somebody held the IC championship, there was a good chance that meant that they were actually next in line to be a world champion.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know. I mean, it didn't work sometimes, but at one point, when before the Attitude Era ruined the belt completely, the IC belt, there was a statistic where something like 3 out of every 4 IC champions went on to be a world champion at some point in the career in WWE, which is a crazy success rate. It's almost as good as Money in the Bank. You know, it's high. It's a high success rate. But then it stopped being that belt in the Attitude Era, and it started being the belt it started being a jobber belt in effect, because you had an entertaining jobber belt. You had Val Venus and the New Age Outlaws and Godfather and people like that fighting for it, and they were guys that were never going to be world champions, and everyone knew they weren't, but they were over and they were entertaining, so they got the IC title, and it sort of ruined the belt a little bit if you think about it.
Yeah, it's kind of sad to think that people getting an opportunity at something then has that thing, it gets devalued because of it.
Yeah, you can't. It's an age-old saying, isn't it? You can't use a belt to make a wrestler. Like,
the wrestler's got to make the belt.
Yeah, exactly. The wrestler's got to deserve the belt in the first place. You can't just stick it on anyone and everyone will be like, oh, look, that guy's the champ. He's great. It just doesn't work, so...
Tell that to Vince about Roman Reigns.
Exactly, how long is he going to fight it for? But anyway, his cousin's up top at the moment, looking for a big move. They're already one up. I don't believe Benjamin and Gable have got a fall back yet. But yeah, going back to the original point, how stacked is the tag division in terms of talent? You've got 3 members of New Day. You've got both Usos. Shelton Benjamin's a great worker. Chad Gable is. Jason Jordan on Raw and Seth Rollins. Cesaro. Sheamus is a great worker. He might be a bit more limited than a lot of the other guys in terms of the variety and stuff he can do, but he puts together good matches pretty consistently. Breezango, they put on good matches. Like when they're allowed to put on a match, they do, and it's good. I'm trying to think who else we got. Apollo Crews is a great worker. He is in the tag division at the moment with Titus. I'm not sure I'd call Titus a great worker. He's a competent worker. But I just rattled off 14 people that are really good workers that are in some sort of tag team as their main story at the moment. That's kind of crazy. They are the workers' belts now, aren't they?
They are, and I'm telling you, it's like you said, every time these belts get defended, it's
one
still on the show.
Yeah, exactly, it is. Especially when it was Usos New Day, that was just like the match to look forward to. But this should be. Look at the talent. Look at you replacing New Day with Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable. Like, I'm sorry, if ever it was possible to make a better match than Usos New Day, this is it. Yeah, like this should be great. Yeah, the 1-1 though, so now it's basically a normal tag team match for the titles, which, let's be honest, is how it's going to go in real life as well. I'd be surprised if anyone 2-0s it. I think I can count on one hand the number of times I've seen a 2 out of 3 falls match finish 2-0.
Man.
So, I don't think that's going to happen.
Look at Shelton Benjamin, that tornado DDT from the second rope.
Yeah, there he goes.
I love his agility, man. This guy is special.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was listening to Edge & Christian's podcast when I think they had him on, and they were saying they loved planning out like things like the Money in the Bank matches with him, because they'd be like, "Hey, we've had an idea. Oh, that sounds really, really not something that's physically possible. Let's ask Shelton if he can do it." and they said they'd go and ask Shelton, and he'd be like, "Yeah, I can probably do that." And he would. They'd come to the point in the match, and he'd do it invariably. He'd pretty much always get it right. And they said it was great working with him, because you could just come up with some ridiculous concept for a spot, and you'd know there was someone in the match that could do it. So, they were really putting him over strong as probably one of the best pure athletes that's ever come through the company, like in their time anyway, in terms of just pure agility, raw agility. He's probably the best I've ever seen. And I can buy that. I can believe that. Him and Kofi are the two that spring to mind straight away for me. In terms of... Oh, and John Morrison. In terms of pure athleticism, like being able to do some ridiculous stuff that you just don't think should be possible.
Yeah, man. I think it's... We have to really... We got to keep our eyes on these situations, man, because the problem is, like, as fans, we have all these things that we know should happen. We know, and we know it's like they try to say they listen to the WWE universe, but they don't. I mean, the people that Vince McMahon, who obviously gets the final say and all this stuff, and they don't really listen to us. I mean, there's a number of guys that we could rattle off, and you've done a great job of it as well. It's like people who really should have got opportunities.
We broke it up. Yeah, go on. Sorry, yeah. I thought that might be the end.
And people who should have gotten opportunities, or people, it's like this is the right time for this and this is the right time for that. And it's just weird that the people who run this business are supposed to be the experts. And I get it. We're just the fans at home. What do we know?
Yeah, there's a lot
Except
we
for,
don't know. We don't know who's selling how much merch. We don't know who's putting bums in seats at house shows and all the stuff that they, take into account when choosing who to push and stuff. But at the same time, you get a good idea from watching the show and hearing crowd reactions.
Yeah.
The prime example for me is how over Daniel Bryan got, and then they went to the Royal Rumble. They didn't put him in the Rumble match, and they put him in a jumpsuit and had him wrestle a match against Bray Wyatt. And he was like the most over guy there, and no one backstage thought, right, screw the plan. Daniel Bryan's entering and winning the Rumble. Take someone out. He needs to win it. Yeah, no one. And they make last minute decisions all the time, so it's not like it's against principle and everything's planned 6 months in advance. They make last minute changes like that all the time. Ooh, another near fall. But they just don't do it. And I know what you mean. Like, we can see all that talent in the tag division, and unfortunately, we can also say none of that talent is going to get near the world title. And for some of
we know that with certainty.
Yeah, and for some of them, it's a real shame. So, that's pay dirt. Does he call it pay dirt, I think, or something like that?
Yeah.
I'm not sure what pay dirt means, but that's the name he gave to it. And that's... Oh, not new champions. I thought that was new champions.
That was close.
It was close. It was, yeah. That was... we don't get named...
Well, Jimmy Uso isn't shy about expressing himself, that's for sure. Jey Uso gets away. Tag team champions are victorious.
Here are your winners, and still Smackdown Tag Team Champions, Jimmy Uso and Jey Uso. The Usos.
And Jey Uso is the one to put this one away for the team. Let's not overcomplicate things. This business is simple. It's all about wins and losses.